Well, I think we got picks and bands ready here. This is going to be game 3 between Mouse and SK. Let's see what it is that they want to prioritize here.
It's been pretty close between these two teams, and this is very similar and on par to how things were in the last split, even during the spring split, where we would often see a lot of people, and I think ourselves included, or definitely myself included, kind of comparing these two teams on being pretty even like ground.
I think that's actually very apt. These two teams were kind of trading games back and forth. They're definitely even. So I mean, I wouldn't want to go too far making big extrapolations off just this set, and kind of want to see how these two teams both do up against some of the real top dogs over there in EU. But it's so good to see SK being able to regroup after a tough loss, seeing Mouse sticking to their their style and playing what other teams might call jank, but what works for them.
It's unconventional. I think is probably the best way to put it, because you never really know what you're going to get. Mouse is almost like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. And Tom got a first-hand lesson in that when he tried to call where the circuit was going and got destroyed.
Oh, that's always so much fun.
At the start of game 2, but it is going to be Xbalanque that Mouse have been able to grab for themselves with that first pick, as yet again all of the sustained characters, or some of the strong ones, are banned away. The Aphrodite, Ra, and Guan, all gone. That's been the case in all 3 games so far.
Athena, probably the most contested pick, though, between these two teams. Neither side willing to ban it. Both sides definitely wanting to take it. And this time around, though, SK further utilizing some of that global presence by introducing the Janus into this composition, too. Lawbster had a pretty solid game on the Janus in the second round. I do feel as though this Janus complements SK very nicely, too, because it's just great having such an easy way for them to disengage.
And they're going to be able to use that here with their team, along with the Athena. The global presence, the mobility that you alluded to, going to help them very much, I imagine, early on. But with the Thoth, Kumbhakarna, Xbalanque, they have plenty of their own strong pressure here happening in this set themselves, between the Kumbhakarna trying to get the Mez and the big team fighting ultimate from Xbalanque.
And one other thing important to note here before we even get started or headed into the third game, SK actually needed to make a last-minute substitution for Ducky in this match. Unfortunate power outage actually ended up taking out his internet, so he won't be able to participate.
And that could potentially be a factor here for it, but that's one of the things you kind of got to be ready for on the fly, is being able to make those adjustments. We'll see how it is that they're going to be able to play around that as we move into the ban phase here, Taco, of this set, as the Susanoo and the Dodgy are banned away. Once again, an eye towards these junglers, even though I don't know, is Cherryo going to play a regular jungler like a Susanoo? I don't know.
I think that Susanoo is probably one of the gods that he does have in the assassin arsenal for his god pool. I mean, clearly he's somebody who's definitely almost always deferred towards that like guardian warrior as part of just like building onto the beefiness of a team comp, but he can take up the mantle if he needs to of the assassin role. I mean, he was known for his Najab once upon a time ago, and we actually covered it for quite some time too, because it was like we were almost expecting him to go for the Najab, and then he almost never did, which was it's just one of those Cherryo things, I think. It's
one of those things that happen when you try and pick what Cherryo is going to do. Nemesis comes in for SK, which can be a strong response to some of the tankier comps that Mouse likes to run. And looks like it is going to be the Habwa and the Chulainn that round that out. So ordinarily, I would say Habwa going into the jungle based on what we've drafted here so far. I think that's likely, but again, I don't like to guess where Mouse puts things.
I like the Habwa pickup, though, because of the water carpet. Going to be great for helping avoid that slow off of the Nemesis. Slice and Dice and her ultimate, as well as just being able to assist their team in general, maybe looking to try and match some of that heavy mobility factor that SK are yet again introducing to this next team comp. And Terra to seal the deal. I really like this.
That feels pretty good, doesn't it? Getting the 10th pick Terra. Yeah, I'll take that, Taco. Thank you very much.
Please give my pen cap back. I need it.
There you go. I'll let you
Thank you.
I guess.
I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah, so nicely. But yeah, I mean, getting Terra and Athena on the same squad for SK, I mean, that could potentially spell trouble for Mousesports if they're able to get that lockdown in. But it sounds like they're just about ready. So who do you think's taking this game 3?
I really like both of these drafts, to be honest.
They're good.
I think it's going to come down to just who gets the better trade of those team fights. And like we mentioned, Ducky needing to be substituted. This is going to provide some great insight towards how SK look to deal with those sort of last-minute, unexpected situations on the fly.
And how well this Habwa does can also be a pretty big factor here. It can be kind of feast or famine sometimes. So we'll see how that all ends up working in action. Tom and Aggro, take it away.
Mouse and SK here. Unfortunately, we don't get to see Ducky again, which is actually really unfortunate, because the Athena gets selected and he was crushing it on the Athena in game number 1. Would have loved to see him return to it, but unfortunately not. Mouse, on the other hand, get the Hebo in the jungle. which this is one of the aggressive characters that Cherryo plays really well.
And this is the sort of weird composition, if it is Hebo Jungle, because you just predicted a Mousesports composition again, that I think that could really work out here for Mousesports. Just a little bit of spiciness, but not so spicy that you can't eat your dinner.
I don't think Hebo Jungle's that spicy.
That's because you eat a lot of spicy food.
Do you think Cheetos are spicy?
I don't.
Do you think ketchup is spicy?
Now mayonnaise, that's spicy.
Please get us into game. Let us know who you think is going to win. Thank you, production. BigManTingz in the middle lane.
Oh,
and
nice.
Cherryo will play that jungle. Oh, it's Lloydy!
It's Lloydy.
I haven't seen Lloydy in a minute.
You wanna? You can ask him how he's doing. I can step out for a sec.
Well, no, Lloydy's a fun guy. Lloydy's been playing Pro Smite for a long time. He's been around the scene. This was a power outage, right? This is a very unfortunate scenario. I'm not sure if Lloydy is longtime SK sub or not, but this is one of Lawbster and Funball's old homies from way back in the day. Lloydy can hold his own. It's been a while, though. That said, I think he can probably dance with Nika.
I mean, this is SK is like the town hall of all the old Smite players. I was gonna call it the retirement home. I'll just get right into it, where everyone comes back together. First it was Badja. He was asked to leave because he was too rowdy. Then in comes HalfDevil. It's only fitting the Lloydy's here, right?
Sure.
I mean that in a joking, nice, fun way. I love all these guys. Don't hate me.
No. I disagree, because I think that Badja was on his way out, whereas HalfDevil I actually really like here. I think his career was cut short because of something out of his control. And he came back, and I think he looks fine. He looks successful. I'm very excited with the way that HalfDevil has looked here. Lloydy on the Athena solo. Going spicy, the first way to go.
See, wait, you're gonna tell me that you think Athena solo is spicy?
I think Athena solo is spicier than a Hebo jungle.
I don't think either of them are particularly spicy.
Neither do I.
But I would say that Athena solo is a little bit more traditional even than I don't know.
No way.
They're real close. They're real close. Come on, we've seen so much Athena solo over the last year. Like so much Athena solo.
Sure, and we've seen so much Hebo jungle.
I'll bet you we've seen more Athena solos than Hebo jungles in the SPL over the last year.
Sure, but I think that speaks more to player god pool than god proficiency. There are more junglers, there are more solo laners willing to play Athena and Ken than there are junglers willing to play Hebo and Ken.
That's because Athena solo is better than Hebo jungle.
Full stop! No way! I'm calling Lionheart right now.
Go for it, man. 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, good luck.
Yeah, he's definitely not available. He's playing Paladin Strike.
I wish I was playing Paladin Strike too. Do you mind if I queue up right now?
You probably will. HalfDevil getting aggressive here, going for the dash, but the counter dash from Jermain. Yeah. Funball trying to deal with it. Ping's coming out. Looking for the red buff is BigManTingz, but he'll have to get his farm elsewhere. All right, Hebo Jungle getting a little bit aggressive here on the right side. Going to go with Nika. But I like this positioning from Cherryo. Waiting to surprise Lloydy here. Only level 4, so doesn't have the ultimate. But Lloydy is caught slipping.
Wish Cherryo would just be a little bit more patient there. If he lets Lloydy take 2 more steps into the jungle, that's first blood for Mousesports.
Oh.
Nika able to steal away the blue buff there, fails. Still has to be concerned about Cherryo. He is a Hebo in the early game, and Water Hands do quite a bit to him, even at this point in the game. And this is just playing around your enemy's weakness, almost. You know, Lloydy hasn't played in quite some time at the competitive level, and Nika and Cherryo have been playing together all split long. Use that advantage where you have it. I've got no problems. You know, I'm sure there will be some, naysayers, probably some SK fans going, hey, why are you bullying the guy who just came in to sub? Miss me with any of that, man. There is so much on the line for these pro league teams. You take whatever advantage you can get. If you get some, if you get a bug in your eye in the middle of the game, I'm not pausing for you, dog. I'm not doing anything. I'm still trying to win.
Yeah, you're right. That's one of those things I was talking about it on stream the other day, where you don't pause for the enemy team.
Never.
That's not something you do. Actually, I'm not sure. At one point, it wasn't our rules that you actually can't pause for the enemy team. Now, obviously, you know, because what happens if we need that pause? We use it on you, hurrah. But like you said, I mean, this is the big leagues, bro. You play to win. I don't care. Beat up the sub is and should be the correct strategy. And SK Gaming should respond by keeping Faeles on this right side. They respond by making sure Lawbster has the Janus so that he can help out Lloydy. Lloydy on the Athena solo, I mentioned it was a little bit untraditional, but guess what? That's a get-out-of-jail-free card with that ultimate. Sure. There are a lot of ways that Lloydy can affect this game without having to be the hard carry. Yep. SK Gaming has done a good job of creating that draft around it, and now they have to play around Mouse, who are going to punish that. That's all a part of the game, folks.
And look, if you've played at a competitive level before, understanding that your job is to dash taunt is within your wheelhouse.
Yes.
If you've played at a competitive level at any role, you can understand your job as an Athena. Now, will he do it as well as what Ducky was doing in Game 1, as well as Cherryo was doing in Game 2? Most likely not. You know, not saying that if you're a pro player, you can play Athena like Kalas can all the time, but you'll be able to be serviceable on that pick regardless. I think this is a pretty smart pickup for SK, understanding their situation.
And like I said, I mean, he goes way back with these guys, going back to the Paradigm days, and even before that, bipolar method. So, I mean, these guys are very familiar with Lloydy. He's been playing forever. Not too concerned there. Funballer should be concerned, though. Popped up into the air in his own accord. Will come down in a much less safe neighborhood.
Ooh.
There's Dardez with the control. Roll forward. Is he going to survive?
HalfDevil's nuts. He ate that ultimate so that Funball didn't.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Faeles and Cherryo duke it out in the jungle. Lloydy was there to help as well. That's first blood for SK, and they get the beads out from BigManTingz. What a play, though, from HalfDevil to save his hunter's life.
And that's the sort of thing, like we said, HalfDevil has had some ramp-up time, but you can't ignore the fact that he's been away from the game. But being away from the game, it doesn't take away your instincts. Dardez caught here in a bad spot, and the basics will go down. Faeles gets the last hit on that one. 2 kills for SK Gaming. Point with HalfDevil. Those instincts don't go away.
No, and that's the once a support, always a support sort of mentality, right? You see your hunter in trouble, you're going to get in there and do anything you can to prevent death from falling upon them, and he did a great job there. And meanwhile, Lloydy rotating in, getting an assist. No, actually didn't get the assist onto the kill onto Cherryo, but did chase the beads out for BigManTingz, which makes the Faeles and HalfDevil's job much easier, with knowing that BigManTingz is much more vulnerable in the mid lane.
Going back into the history books, last point about Lloydy that I actually really like is all the way back in Season 1 with the Fnatic team, he was coaching and subbing with Funballer and HalfDevil. So it's sort of like he's the guy that's bringing the two halves of this team sort of together in this terrible circumstance where the starter is out right now. So SK Gaming kind of bringing it all together with Lloydy here in the solo lane. It's fun to see this guy, but more importantly, performing. SK Gaming with the first 2 kills of the game. Mousesports up a little bit of gold, but that's irrelevant, neither here nor there. The gameplay out of the left side has been fantastic.
It's been going pretty well, and that's where you kind of want to focus. Like, I'm not a big fan of understanding. In a lot of situations, teams will say, okay, they're going to camp our sub, so
right,
let's just camp him too. That's just kind of playing into the hand of the enemy team. You're focusing your efforts on the spot where you are least comfortable, where you have the least experience. I don't think that's a great call. Now, I'm not saying to leave Lloydy dangling by a thread out on an island, but at the same time, play around the left side of the map. There's no difference in the early game losing Ducky on the left. He's not a part of the comms on the left-hand side. He's not fighting with you on the left-hand side pre-10 minutes. You don't have to worry about that so much. Play to your strengths and trust that Lloydy will be able to carry his weight in the mid to late game.
Right, and like we said, it's an accomplished player. Faeles here with help from Lloydy, finds it! Big damage with the ultimate and the Lloydy stomp. Faeles gets another kill, 300, bang bang.
Now that is unfortunate though, because Lloydy just teleported to the right lane, got the call and went with it, used his ultimate, but that means he loses his tower on the right. If he just stayed in base, ulted from there, and then teleported to the right-hand side, could have worked out a little bit better. So unfortunate timing, but a kill onto Jermain, as well as chasing out the purification beads, is probably worth that tier 1 tower anyways. It was already very low. Lloydy's not giving up too much by losing it at this point.
Nika getting a little bit aggressive here. 2 versus 1 as Faeles and Lloydy make their way back to the right side of the map. Big damage on Nika, but Cherryo's here. Misses the water hands. Misses the ultimate. Nika gets him with the fish flop. But Faeles, nice dancing shoes around Cherryo.
Yikes. That was rough. Cherryo in some trouble now. Lloydy gonna pull him deeper onto the SK side of the map. Earth and Fury should be enough to guarantee this kill, though. For everything Cherryo missed,
hit him!
SK returning the favor. Funball will put an end to that. Yes, that is Funball all the way on the right side of the map. He got there courtesy of Lawbsters through space and time.
No, what happened was everybody missed Cherryo for so long that the Ram walked across the map from the left side to the right and finally said, I'll do this.
I'm going to save you here because someone will think you just didn't have your eyes open. Tom doesn't actually believe that. This is him making a joke, everyone. Tom saw what happened. Right? You saw it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
Uh-oh. Nope. I always get excited when I see it. Always. I think he's always going to fire the ultimate. I'm always surprised when it doesn't happen.
Surprise, again, on this left-hand side. Jermain juking back so he doesn't take the Athena damage this time around. Well played, but no beads, no life. Jermain will fall to Faeles once again. 4-1 for Faeles in the jungle. But he spent a lot of time ganking and not a lot of time protecting that right side of the map. He's actually down in XP because of how often Cherryo's been able to steal away XP camps, steal away the blue buff on the right side of the map because of the control Nika's had in the solo lane.
And the lead for Mousesports is just growing. Kills 5-1 in SK favor. Sure, good for you. 2,000 gold now for Mousesports. Not yet done with that tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, but yeah, I mean, the question is where does it balance out? Because those ganks on the left side are very important.
Yeah.
And I would say that they're worth a certain amount of gold. The question that we ask is what amount of gold are those ganks worth?
I'm not going to give you a monetary value.
No. And I'm not asking you for a specific number because it's all about the variables. But the gold and the experience deficit is because of that those ganks on the left side. And right now, my professional opinion, I think it's okay. But
yes,
it can get out of control soon.
Yes, and it can. It just feels like SK is procrastinating a big project, right? They're like, hey, we know that Nika's been free farming for 12 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Well, someone's going to have to deal with him eventually. One shot in the middle miss there for Funball. May have been enough to find Jermain, but HalfDevil's ultimate was used there as well. Earth and Fury, a very long cooldown. But it looks like they thought about diving, decided against it. There's that lingering feeling in the back of your mind when you put something off for a long time, you haven't taken care of it. You know you should, but you just don't really want to. That's Nika in the solo lane right now. Like, eventually we're going to have to deal with this. It's just a matter of if you're going to let it tank your grade or if you're just going to take care of it when you need to. Honestly, Nika doesn't have that much protection right now. It's all base stats for him. One Nemesis ult into a portal from Lawbster off a taunt from Lloydy, and Nika gets popped either way. Most likely, Chulainn is scary from ahead, yes, but if you don't find him in the 3v3s and the 4v4s, and you find him and you just outnumber him, it's not quite as bad. However, if SK wait around until Mousesports just starts to group and bring Nika into these fights, it could get scary.
HalfDevil in trouble. The dot's good. Basic won't find it. HalfDevil going to sneak on out of there. Jermain cut low. Jermain trying to get out of here, hiding behind the Guardian. Lawbster takes out Jermain, but big damage from BigManTingz. Takes care of Funball, just barely misses Lloydy. Here comes Cherryo, who, by the way, cut down one in the jungle beforehand. Lawbster, knocked up, knocked down. Nika with number 4. And there's that project coming right on through. And he's saying, you're going to get a D.
Gold Fury, an option now with Mousesports here. Cherryo's a little low on mana. Doesn't have too many rotations available of that water hands, but shouldn't matter. BigManTingz and Nika will bring enough damage to this objective that this will go Mousesports' way. And it's no surprise that as soon as Nika shows up, Mousesports win a team fight heavily and get that big objective. And this is kind of what Mousesports was waiting for. I think that they understood what SK was doing. Yep. They knew that the dual lane was going to get behind based on the focus from Faeles, and They said, okay, we just got to trust that Nika's going to come in and do something with all the farm that he's been gifted on that right side of the map, and Nika's doing a lot more than something. He's dominating.
And I gotta go back to one of the things that I've said for a number of years here, right?
Stuff after the stuff.
Yes.
Brick through the window.
Let's go with the first
Robbing
one.
people.
Now you're just devolving. SK Gaming did not get any secondary objective after their kills.
Oh,
They got
I was
a ton of
actually
kills.
right about the stuff after the stuff.
I told you you were, and you continued to go for
I
it.
thought you were just yes-anding.
Oh, no, that's Finch.
Fair enough. Continue, I'm sorry.
5-1 was the kill count at one point. 5-0 was the kill count at one point. But at no point did any of those 5 kills result in even the slightest of a buff invade. We didn't see a Gold Fury, certainly not. We didn't see the tower. Those kills worked against SK Gaming, believe it or not, because Lloydy didn't have the control, wasn't able to quell what Nika was doing. And now he's a level 16 Kumbhakarna. And anytime he shows up to the party, everybody's wasted.
Pretty much at this point. Now, this is what you have to do is start getting objectives if you're SK. Jermain doesn't use the beads, uses his dash to give himself some CC immunity in the midst of that route, but doesn't get the tower. You're right, SK's got to get something here, and I think it's time to just understand that your solo lane, it's over.
Yeah.
You've made your bed on the right-hand side, but you can still mess up Mousesports on the left. You use that global rotation from Lloydy and from Lawbster in quick tandem.
Lloydy's here, but not too much of a threat. In fact, he's going to walk in and get himself ulted. Mousesports does confirm everything. Cherryo misses a little bit of the ult on Faeles, who does have help from Lloydy. Not enough damage to take down Nika. SK Gaming walk away empty-handed 16 minutes in.
Didn't even get beads from Cherryo or BigManTingz, both of them doing plenty of damage to Lloydy. And like we said, Lloydy's not worried about falling behind Nika at this point. It's not a big deal to him, but it is a big deal that he's behind BigManTingz and Cherryo, that he doesn't have the tankiness to deal with either of those characters. He's got Kusari 1. That's just not enough to deal with a Thoth and a Hebo at this point in the game. And the Nemesis ultimate is going to really help out against Nika, but not when Cherryo's around. Remember, that water carpet gives slow immunity to Hebo and everyone on his team. So if Nika gets ulted, just lay down the red carpet for him, and he's able to walk away really easily. Faeles needs to go where Cherryo isn't if he wants to be effective.
Carpet's blue, actually.
Well, it's made from water of the yellow river, so we're both wrong.
The water is not yellow.
I know.
HalfDevil stuck between 2 players. Here comes... Oh! Everybody! Again, shouts to BigManTingz. What a fantastic, fantastic look that this guy has been. I remember talking to him when he was playing support for Team Dignitas, and he was sitting there and he was just like, look, I just want to win, man. I just want to be good. I just want to be strong. And I remember saying to him, like, you know, what are you willing to do to, like, find the wins? Because at that time his team wasn't finding the wins. And he was like, literally anything. Switching positions was certainly in the conversation.
Will you throw a brick through a window to see the response time? Did he say yes?
That's not even remotely relevant.
I don't think it's particularly relevant when you say it around Gold Furies either.
It's always relevant. It's a big point of how you're going to make a team fight around the objective. You are wrong.
Okay, sorry. You say
18 minutes in. Ryan, timeout.
All right, sorry.
6-5, read the kills. SK Gaming up 43-43. Cherryo trying to tear the Lawbster into worm food. The water hands make it happen.
You don't get to see someone get outplayed at the professional level that often. Lawbster just got outplayed in every sense of the word. He waits, and Cherryo waits until the portal goes on the ground, then blinks over it, knowing the Lawbster's escape is down. Goes to the knockup first to prevent the through space in time from coming out. Right after that, well done by Cherryo. Well done.
That's why Hebo jungle works.
All right, but Hebo mid could have done the same thing.
But Hebo mid, there are better mages than Hebo. There are better long-range mages than Hebo. I don't like Hebo mid, and not because it's susceptible to dying, because there are better mages. Gold Fury half HP. Ryan knows I'm right. SK Gaming here, trying to
You're right, Tom. No assassin could have 1v1 a Janus.
75% on the Gold Fury right now. I'm going to be leashed out. Now, 0% on Faeles. BigManTingz.
Dardez with a beautiful setup as well, and well-timed, because if Faeles hits the ground, a shield will put an end to that combo. Lloydy gonna dash in, immediately mezzed out. SK do seal away the Gold Fury, but they're gonna lose some members most likely.
Cherryo here trying to fight, full of mana as well. Totally can find it, but where's the ultimate? It's not up yet, but it will be in a couple of seconds. Beautiful corridor. Funball makes it to the sky. Won't make it to the ground. BigManTingz takes care of Lloydy. Nika takes care of Funball. Mousesports out of control right now. Looking really good against the black and white.
But SK stole away that Gold Fury and gave themselves some life in this game. Pyromancer isn't up. Tier 1 tower, the obvious answer for where Mousesports should go next. Get something off the map. Got 2 kills, but objectives are the more important part. We were earlier talking about how SK got kills but no objectives.
Right.
Mousesports understand that just 2 kills for losing gold isn't good enough for where they are in this game.
And so they're going to force the issue here. Shouts to Totally. Mid lane tower. And I don't use that term lightly. They're forcing this. SK can play defense, and Lawbster's going to be a big part of it until he's obliterated. Cast down, cut short, goodbye. BigManTingz adds another one as he takes down Faeles. Lloydy is stuck here as well. But woof, what a response from Cherryo. That was just raw reaction time. Boy, do I love it.
That is why Hebo Jungle is good. The earlier one, any assassin kills Lawbster in that situation with how well Cherryo played it. In that situation, not a lot of assassins have knockups that are immediately going to get you killed right away. And there is, for all the risk that Hebo Jungle brings, the reward is clearly there, and Cherryo's playing really, really well with it right now.
Cubo Fred did it earlier as well. It's just, it's a pick that needs the right people around it, not even necessarily the gods, right? And Dardez is the guy. Dardez is phenomenal. He's been phenomenal, and the support position for Mousesports has always been a shining point. And when you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want because your support player is crushing it, and honestly, BigManTingz is more of a lightning rod than anybody else on your team, yeah, the Hebo Jungle is going to flourish.
I really think the teams are going to start to respect BigManTingz, respect what he wants to do on the battlefield, and try and take him out of it, because Mousesports has struggled in Season 5 when BigManTingz isn't being the hard carry. Cherryo has not been able to fill that role. That's not his usual playstyle anyways. Jermain has struggled in that role at times so far in Season 5.
Yep.
If I'm watching Mousesports' tape, I'm looking how I can kill BigManTingz, keep him off his comfort gods, because that seems to me like Mousesports' easiest win condition right now.
Yes.
Is feed the hot hand.
Have to agree with you right there. Missed opportunity from SK if you ask me. I think Cherryo should have been cut short there, but instead will escape. Meanwhile, BigManTingz again from downtown. Jermain finds the last hit on a HalfDevil. Faeles will show up and take care of Cherryo. So 1 for 1. Mouse lose some of their front line, or excuse me, their power. SK lose some of their front line. HalfDevil sitting out for 30.
Well, that time, no focus on a BigManTingz. All the focus was on the Cherryo. That was Faeles' ult on a Cherryo. Lawbster fired off his. Funball used his. HalfDevil solo ulted a Hebo with Earth and Fury. All 3,500 of that damage was directed at at Cherryo. Anyone else that got hit by it it felt like an accident. And that'll work right now for SK. I just got done talking about how BigMan is the guy to watch out for, but in this particular game, Cherryo on Hebo is a scary thought.
Lawbster on the run here, tried to go for the invade, couldn't. Pushed up that left side lane. Right now, SK Gaming still trailing by about 7,000 gold here, right? But I think SK are a little bit more comfortable than they were before.
7,000 is still a lot. 10,000 experiences, still a lot. This is still Mousesports' game to lose.
Without a doubt, they are significantly in the driver's seat right now.
Though XP is becoming less and less relevant. Level 20 already for BigManTingz, Nika, and Jermain. I feel like Nika's been level 20 for 20 minutes at this point.
Pretty much.
Felt like he hit level 20 at 3 minutes in. Everyone on SK still trying to catch up.
Could you make the argument that Nika hasn't made enough use of his
No,
lead?
He's been dominant in these team fights. He's been impossible to deal with. He's 4-0-4. You can't ask for much more from him. He controlled that entire right side jungle. He's been an impact in every team fight he's joined. I think Nika's done a great job with the lead he got.
I would definitely agree with you, and I think the biggest point there is when the very first team fight. Because I think SK Gaming were very happy and kind of hunky-dory with themselves. All right, we're down 3K. Who cares, bro? We're slaughtering them.
And then you get the email from your professor about where your project is.
You seem very, very well-versed in this procrastination.
I got my degree anyways.
That's fair.
Doing it on time is too easy. I like a challenge.
That's a new one, actually. That's a new one. SK Gaming playing defense on the right-hand side. Mousesports retreating, interestingly enough. They don't have their jungler.
Yep. Cherryo is forced back to base for some good poke in the jungle on the right-hand side earlier on. So SK is going to go for it.
Looking for the fight here. 5 players strong. HalfDevil is going to get help from Lloydy, but can't find the damage from the defender of Olympus. BigManTingz, big damage onto him. Whoa. And the 4v5 is going the way of Mouse because of Nika. Funball falls down from the sky, surrounded. Jermain pounds him. Another kill for the Xbalanque. Cherryo here from the back line. Going to look for HalfDevil. Nice man. Is going to be immediately interrupted. Well, that one didn't work, but HalfDevil certainly not a good spot. He's like to fall here as well. And, well,
a different support, a different solo laner. The same story for Lawbster, where he gets dove with no help on the backside at all. That's always been the knock on Lawbster teams, right? Is that Lob dies too much, and it's often not entirely positioning based. It's that he usually has supporting casts that like to go really, really deep on the backside on the enemy team. Seem to work out again here for Mousesports.
Everything's seeming to work out for Mousesports here. SK Gaming short their starting solo lane. Will wind up losing this one. Big damage coming out from everybody on Mouse. The Titan falls. And in 3 games, Mouse take the victory.
Unfortunate situation for SK. You got to feel for them because they looked like they were starting to turn it back up during game 2. Ducky in particular looked really, really good on that Ama, but life happens sometimes. Yeah. And Lloydy played pretty well coming in an not really being ready for that situation.
Sure.
You know, you watch the first 2 games, you're like, go team, and they're like, hey, you're playing now, and you're like, what? Yeah, okay, here I go. And he did his best, but Nika just got way too far ahead and played very, very well. That was the best performance we've seen from Nika, and that's what you need, right? You need to, if there's any argument, it's like, oh, well, Nika doesn't play that well against the other SPL solo laners. They should replace him. You look at what Nika does to non-SPL solo laners, you can tell that his spot is pretty secure on that Mousesports roster.
Very well done there from Mousesports. A number of players stepping up as far as who's going to be the MVP. That's up to y'all in Mixer Chat. But yeah, BigManTingz just impressing the absolute everything out of me. I don't know how else to say it, man. BMT out of control.
What a beast. He was really, really good on the Thoth, and teams have got to be ready for that moving forward in the summer split.
That's a big deal. Certainly going to be somebody else on the radar. Let's break it down. 3 games. This one went to Mouse.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Aggro. After all that, it looks like it is going to be Mouse who come out the victors here 2-1 over SK. And they do it with a strong performance from both Nika as well as BigManTingz on the Thoth in the mid lane. Look pretty strong.
I think throughout the entirety of the set, even you could probably pose the argument that Nika and BigManTingz are both kind of competing for the spotlight a little bit because they were both just doing fantastic jobs, helping set up so much for their team. BigManTingz especially getting a lot of those confirmations of the kills. That's the important part because it ended up leading into the objective play and just all around a really sound performance from these guys.
Now, Taco, talk to me a little bit about this early game because SK, for all intents and purposes, got a bunch of kills. I think they were up 5-1 at some point. I mean, kills just aren't enough.
It wasn't efficient farming, though, it felt like. I mean, Nika was kind of just left to his own devices in the solo lane. He's up like 3 levels at one point over Lloydy even. And, you know, credit where credit is due. Poor Lloydy getting tossed into an SPL level game when I know that can be a difficult situation for just about anyone, even if you are at that Masters rank caliber of play. So I do want to give a special shout out to Lloydy for trying to help step in for the guys here. But Nika is just going to abuse anybody that isn't SPL caliber going up against him in that lane. And that was pretty much the circumstance that we saw. Lloydy kind of sacrificing his own farm in order to help the better end of his team, and sure, that helped funnel into some great team fight engagements and some awesome picks, but in the end, Faeles wasn't really able to utilize that huge lead he had early on.
That's right, he was 4-1, I think.
Yeah, exactly, and yet he still couldn't pursue even more, and I think that's where things really started to crumble here for SK, is that you get the early picks, but there's no objectives to follow up with that.
Yeah.
They're missing out on a lot of really important farm during the laning phases, and it was just like the trickle-down effect across the map of everybody slowly but surely falling more and more behind.
And a big part of why they couldn't keep that early lead going was because BigManTingz continued to play exceptionally well for them in the mid lane, to the point where he ends up getting named as the MVP by you all there in Mixer Chat. I think that's the right call. Might be able to say MVP for the whole set, really. He just continually played well no matter what they gave him. And on the Thoth, every time he gets a god like this, he makes it look good.
Probably don't want to let BigManTingz get the Thoth anytime soon, but
Nah.
I think it's awesome, though, seeing Tings have this sort of success. And granted, I know it's a little bit early on to be calling things just yet, but I think even during the spring split, BigManTingz had some pretty standout performances in that mid lane role, including the sets that his team would lose. And I think that that's just a really cool feature, because I can still recall, even like a couple years back, Tings always talking about how he wasn't really a huge fan of the support role, even, and that he always preferred doing something leaning more towards the carry into things. He messed around with Hunter for a bit, and I think mid lane is where he found his true calling.
It certainly looks like that to me, as Mouse were able to come out with a victory here after their set. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at where everyone ended up shaking down after all the matches that we have had so far. We got Dignitas and Obey up at the top after Obey able to grab their victory over Energy earlier today.
That was a crazy set, too. It might have been a 2-0, but if you didn't get a chance to catch that set, I would heavily recommend you go back to it, at least game number 1, because that was a complete bloodbath between those two.
You're going to want water and chips and popcorn, though, because it's a pretty long game. But yeah, go back and check it out. It was definitely a good one. That's right, a feature-length film. This is going to be the schedule for the whole rest of the week. As you can see, North America is going to be tomorrow and Wednesday. We're going to see CLG versus Trifecta, kind of the third and fourth place teams, and then LG versus Splice. And don't forget, Trifecta had some roster swap-ups, so you definitely want to check out that set.
And this will be the time to shine. People have been calling for it for the longest time. Paul is the man of the people, and well,
right.
I think I'm more curious to see whether or not he's going to be able to break out that signature Habois and find the same success that he did in the Smite Minor League.
He certainly looks strong as part of that anxiety on-set roster. I don't believe they dropped a single set, even going all the way through to the finals. Let's see if Paul can translate some of that success for Trifecta, and you all can have a way to be successful there at home by picking up one of those 8RX tickets. Just that easy. You don't have to go through all the splits. You don't have to win a whole bunch of matches. You just get to go. All you got to do is get a ticket. Come meet me. Come meet Taco. She'll dab for you, just like Totally will. Just go say, hey, Finch said you dab for me, and then they will.
I feel like you're lying to a whole lot of people on the internet right now.
I would never do that.
Who would ever do that?
No one on the internet has ever lied.
Exactly. I have said that word like a billion times today, and it's starting to tilt me.
You can't lie on the internet. There's like a filter or something that stops that from happening. But pick up those tickets. Not just Smite. Get to see Paladins as well. Come see all your favorite personalities, your favorite pros, coaches. Everyone will be there, as well as some people that you like to watch stream as well. So make sure you pick that all up. And then make sure you check us out tomorrow. We're broadcasting all day long now with our new schedule. That is going to do it for the SPL here today in Europe on Tuesday. And we'll see y'all tomorrow.